It is the Jesse Kelly Show, another hour of the Jesse Kelly Show on what has been a fantastic Wednesday, wrapping up our talk here about diversity being the death of everything as it pertains to Ketanji Brown Jackson and all this other stuff. And then we'll do some emails. We'll touch on Joe Biden, his doctor dodging questions for all the reasons that are pretty obvious, a bunch of emails, all that, and so much more coming up on the world famous Jesse Kelly Show. Now, let's finish this up. Years and years and years and years and years, cultural Marxism has been operating in this country. It has been recruiting and nurturing new malcontents and new malcontents and new malcontents. And because they stayed at it, they never tired, they never backed off, they were not ashamed. And because we allowed them, we helped them in some cases. We wanted to be nice, treat them with kid gloves. I mean, everybody can. They infiltrated all the institutions of power. Now you wake up every single day, you have emails like this. Ex-NYU professor's website exposes ICE agents with facial recognition as assaults on officers surge 700%. Headline, internal emails suggests Cornell considers race in hiring despite merit-based claims. How did we end up with such a moron like Ketanji Brown Jackson on the court? By the way, would you like to read something from her before we play Joe Biden and how exactly he selected her? I would like you to read this, courtesy of Ketanji Brown Jackson herself. Jackson then turned to the writing of SCOTUS opinions, saying she feels she's been, quote, privileged to use the writing that she does, the work that she does, to explain her views about the way our government does and should work, the way the court does and should work. It is through this process, the Biden appointee noted, that she is able to tell the American people about how she feels about any given case and its outcome. Quote, I think the nice part about being on the court is you have the opportunity, whether you're in the majority or in the dissent, to express your opinions, Jackson said. Remember, her job's to interpret the law. I just feel that I have a wonderful opportunity to tell people, in my opinions, how I feel about the issues. And that's what I try to do. That's not at all what your job is. So how did we get somebody like that on the court? Hey, Chris, how'd we get someone like that on the court?
Our process is going to be rigorous. I will select a nominee worthy of Justice Breyer's legacy of excellence and decency. While I've been studying candidates' backgrounds and writings, I've made no decision except one. The person I will nominate will be someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first Black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court.
And that's why we are in bad trouble, because it goes so far beyond Ketanji Brown Jackson. She's just the one that's risen to the highest court. Did you know the lower courts are full of these people? Because the cultural Marxists have spent years allowing people into law school who weren't qualified because they were minorities of some kind, promoting them, graduating them, and then upon graduation, it's not as if they went on and just kind of failed in the legal profession because they weren't qualified. They found the right avenues that would get them promoted based on things like their skin color or their gender, and they're not struggling to make ends meet. They have risen to the highest positions in the land. Not just in the legal system, in the medical profession. It's all over the medical profession, I might point out. In the United States military, do you have any idea how many diversity hires currently are generals and admirals? Do you have any idea the kind of qualifications those people use to promote? Well, allow me to go to the police force to point this out. Austin, Texas's police force has been under fire for some negligence, mistakes they made about the fire, about the floods, in Texas. I'm not actually going to address that specifically, but I am going to say Austin, Texas has been infected with crime. It is so bad there. My sister, who was in love with it, bought a home there. After about 2 years, packed it up and moved and sold her house because of how disgusting Austin, Texas, and dangerous Austin, Texas has become. Hey, let's check in with Austin, Texas's fire chief. Hey, fire chief, what do you focus on?
What's important is I'm not the last African-American fire chief. That's more important than being the first.
Chief Baker now oversees 49 stations and around 1,200 employees. He says his goal for the department has changed over time, but one has stuck through it all.
One of my goals is really to increase the diversity of the Austin Fire Department. It needs to reflect more of the community we serve because...
Remember, speaking of medical institutions being infected with this, remember what I told you about the future of medicine? And it's so hard because people can't just walk up to the money tree and pluck money off of it, but the future of medicine is probably going to be that only wealthy people have access to good medicine because everyone else is going to have access to whatever local hospital or doctors in their area. They can't fly to the Caribbean for some specialized care. Do you remember what the Columbia medical students recited at their graduation?
We enter the profession of medicine with appreciation for the opportunity to build on the scientific and humanistic achievements of the past. We also recognize the acts and systems of oppression affected in the name of medicine. We take this oath of service to begin building a future grounded in truth, restoration, and equity to fulfill medicine's capacity to liberate. I vow to use this knowledge to uplift my patients and disrupt the injustices that harm them as I forge the future of medicine. I promise to self-reflect diligently, to confront unconscious prejudices, and to develop the skills, knowledge, and character necessary to engender an inclusive, equitable field of medicine. Let us bow our heads in recognition of the gravity of this oath. We swear to faithfully engage with these ideals and obligations for the ongoing betterment of medicine and humanity.
When's the last time you spent any time at a hospital? I have, off and on, for various reasons. No, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Over the past few years, every time I've come back home after spending time in a hospital in recent years, I've sat down and explained to my wife that I don't know how, baby, but we really need to make a lot of money because I don't ever want to be treated by these people. There are so many rude, nasty, stupid, despicable people who work in medicine now. And I know there are all kinds of saints who are doctors and nurses and administrators. I get that. There's still plenty of good out there, plenty of it. There are just horrible people in there now. People whose hands your life is in when you go in there. Are you 100% sure, white guy, you're going to get top-level care from somebody who was trained in equity in medical school? It's not a small thing, and it hasn't gone away. Things are getting better culturally. They are. I didn't mean for all this to bring you down. But Ketanji Brown Jackson, she's just maybe the most prominent voice of what has happened to this country, and it's a discussion we've had so many times before. The focus on diversity kills whatever you're diversifying. When you make that any kind of a priority, it shouldn't even be considered. But when you make it a priority, we're going to find a Supreme Court justice and they're going to be qualified and all that, but it has to be a black woman. Well, you're going to end up with things that aren't good. And not just in stupid kind of meaningless positions. Oh, okay, the kindergarten teacher was a diversity hire. What's the big deal? No, your surgeon was a diversity hire. Scalpel, please. Working on his brain now. Your judge was a diversity hire. What do you think that judge, what do you think she thinks about you? Do you think she thinks when she sits in front of you, her job is to be a faithful administrator of the law? Or do you think she's up there to right some wrongs before she gets in her Subaru to head home for the day? We have one on the Supreme Court. We have them in every part of our society. Something to think about. Let's do some emails. Next. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a Wednesday. Remember, if you missed any part of the show, you can download the whole thing on iHeart, Spotify, iTunes. So, before I get to the emails, I did something a little bit dangerous yesterday. All right. And before I explain what I did, I just want to say, sometimes, as men especially, but I'm sure women have this too, sometimes you have to flirt with danger a little bit to feel alive. And you don't want to take that too far. Obviously, you take that too far, disaster can happen. But sometimes you have to dance with the edge. All right? You have to ride a little bit on the wild side to get the juices flowing, to feel alive again. So, you know what I did yesterday? In fact, it started 2 days ago. You ready for this? 2 days ago, that'd be Monday. Went to bed that night. I didn't plug my phone in. Let it sit right there. Yesterday, I wake up. My phone is at 36% when I woke up yesterday. I had plenty. Don't shake your head, Chris. I had plenty opportunity to plug the phone in all day. And I thought, you know what? No, I'm not doing it. I'm going to see if I can make it happen. I'm going to see if I can take this thing all the way to the edge. All day long. I had to make phone calls. I had to ignore emails from corporate. I had to do all kinds of things. All day long. I even had to look up a pizza place last night. I was in a pizza mood for dinner. By the time I looked up the pizza place last night, I was at 8%. 8%. Charging cord right beside me. Still didn't plug it in. Nope. We're going to ride with the wild side tonight. That's what I thought to myself. Last night, when I went to bed, grabbed my charging cord, saw my phone was at 1%, and I plugged it in. Not many people have the guts to try something like that. What, Chris? What? I know it's not good for my phone. Chris, it's good for my soul. I'm not worried about my phone, okay? I needed to feel alive. Right? I needed to test something. I needed to see what I was made of. You know, you don't just test yourself one time. You have to always test your mettle and see, are you going to make it? What are you going to do when disaster strikes? I rode the phone battery all the way down to 1% before I charged it. Not saying you should do that. Listen, hold on. Kids, especially you. Talk to your parents first. You don't take these chances that I took. I live life on the edge. I don't want you to have to do the same. Jesse, the autopsy, he's talking about Epstein, said it wasn't suicide. His jaw was broken in 3 places. Can't they find out who destroyed the evidence? He said, P.S. I switched to Pure Talk and Burner. How about that? I bought a burner. How about that? Okay. The autopsy said it wasn't suicide. That's what she said. Can't they find the evidence that was destroyed? Listen, I am not telling you that we can't get justice in the Jeffrey Epstein case. But do you remember last night when I brought up the FBI's criminal investigation into Brennen and Comey? I think I spent 30 seconds on it. And do you remember why? I don't want you to be bitter. And I don't even know that I want you to be cynical like I am. I don't want that for you. But Powerful people never burn. I'm not used to them burning. I'm used to them getting off scot-free. You're sick of that, and I'm sick of that. And when I think about all the people who committed crimes with Jeffrey Epstein getting off scot-free because they're billionaires or they're politicians or they're FBI agents or CIA or whatever, it sickens me. I am as angry and sick about this entire thing as you are. And I want the Trump administration, including Bondi and Cash and all of them, I want them to pursue this thing as far as they can possibly pursue this thing. But I'm also a realist. I'm telling you right now. You want to hear it? Here, I'll just tell it to you. Chris, go ahead and write it down. Probably my most easy prediction ever. John Brennan's not going to prison. John Brennan took his position as director of the Central Intelligence Agency and committed crimes against the United States of America, and he won't spend one day in prison for it. James Comey, director of the FBI, took that sacred, powerful position and used it to attack the political enemies of Democrats in evil ways. James Comey's not going to spend a single day in prison. I hate that, what I just said. It sickens me. Jeffrey Epstein. I want what you want. I'm angry like you're angry. Tired of it. Powerful people in the criminal organization known as the United States government don't burn. You do. Go ahead and shaft the government on $500 you owe them in taxes. They'll send an army to your front door. But if you're director of the CIA committing crimes, you get off scot-free. I hate that. It is what it is. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Remember, you can email the show, and you should, jesse@jessekellyshow.com. So we have had to talk many times before. I'll get back to some more emails in a minute, but I do want to address this Biden doctor hiding, essentially, today. His name's Kevin O'Connor. He was the former White House physician, and he had a closed-door interview with the House Oversight Committee. And he just pleaded the fifth the whole time. Oh, yeah. Did you ever see Joe? I can't say anything. I won't say anything. So he just hid the honest information the whole time. And this particular story is not that important. Let me clarify. The president of the United States not being a functional adult is very important, but there's nothing we can do about that now. It's done. I don't want to talk about this specific story because, of course, the doctor is going to lie on behalf of Joe Biden. You know that world of make-believe we talk about? How communists are always building a world of make-believe for your liberal Aunt Peggy? That's why she thinks Donald Trump colluded with Russia to win the election. Constantly building a world of lies and maintaining that world of lies. There is something that is really, really great that is happening on the American right that I want to give us credit for. And believe it or not, I'm actually going to give the GOP some credit for it. You know how much it pains me to do that. But we are breaking down those fake walls. We are breaking down those fake walls because they have lost total, complete control over all the sources of information. And since they can't control everything now with the rise of smaller independent podcasts, even, which are wonderful, or the rise of social media like Twitter that isn't completely controlled by them. And because the GOP has finally started to step up and fight back against this, the communist world of make-believe is breaking down. And that is one of the most effective forms of anti-communism ever. Because remember, Liberal Aunt Peggy, she looks around and she sees the walls and they look real. That window that's fake, the outside, it's just a painting on there, but she can't see it. It looks real. The stove doesn't even work. It's not hooked up to anything. It's like a movie set, but it looks real. To her, it's real. But if even one thing is revealed to be fake. Let's say she's in the mood for mac and weenies. She's got some ballpark bun-sized beef franks. She has some Kraft Mac. She wants a little white trash Jesse Kelly food. She goes over to the stove to boil the weenies. Stove's not hooked up. In fact, she grabs the handle and it falls off. It's just painted cardboard. If she starts to see that, I'm not saying she will wake up because she may prefer to stay in that world of make-believe. Many people do. But the second that handle breaks off and it's revealed to be cardboard, she is in danger of waking up and realizing nothing she sees, nothing she knows is real. And this does happen because we have former Democrats who email this show all the time. Jesse, I was a Democrat for 20 years. Jesse, I was a Democrat for most of my life. Jesse, I was raised Democrat. And almost every one of them because they're kind of telling me their story, how they woke up, they will talk about a moment. I'm amazed at how often I see this. Jesse, I had a moment where I woke up. The lies they'd been living in, one of them got exposed as a lie. And they said, wait a minute. If the stove is fake, is the fridge fake? Oh my gosh, the fridge is fake. It's cardboard too. It's not even real. Wait, but if the stove is fake and the fridge is fake, what about the windows? Surely the windows are real. Wait a minute. This isn't even a window. It's just a painting of the outside. That world of make-believe must be maintained at all times, and it is breaking down now. During Joe Biden's presidency, that world got turned into hyperdrive, where they lied about everything. They did the most horrible, evil stuff you could possibly imagine, and they lied about everything. The people in the White House, including his doctor, lied to the United States of America, covering up for the fact Joe Biden wasn't a functional adult. And remember, as hard as they lied, as hard as they tried. Hey, Chris, that rhymed. Did you hear that? What, Chris? That was good. As hard as they lied and as hard as they tried, the American people, all the poll numbers showed this, said, I'm not sure Joe Biden should stand for re-election. I'm not sure he's fit enough. Even then, they couldn't hide it all the way. And so these things, they actually help us. We can't go back and undo all the damage that was done by the Maoists under Joe Biden. We can't. We know he wasn't doing it. Some dirty America-hating commie was signing all those pardons, all those executive orders. Joe Biden didn't even know what planet he was on. We can't take that back. I wish we could. We can't. But exposing these people as filthy, dirty liars, there is a benefit in that because it is going to wake some cult members up. And that is a good thing. And that is something to feel good about. Let's do a bunch of emails. I'm in an email mood tonight. Jesse. Oh, this is about the robotic coyote. Remember I was complaining last night that the military is creating robot coyotes to dissuade wildlife from crawling into jet engines and things like that. This guy says, I think you're missing the mark. How about a robotic dragon? Think outside the box here. We have flamethrowers we could install. Imagine the possibilities. His name is Rob. All right, I'm going to tell you something right now, and you're going to write me emails that are not nice, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm ready. I'm a nice person, but I know that you're not. I believe in dragons. Now, but hold on, Chris. Let me clarify. You can't do that. You can't do. Listen. I heard a guy one time. I'll be honest with you. I was on a plane. I was exhausted. It was a work trip. I was exhausted, but I had had so much caffeine. Everyone's done this to themselves. It's the most horrible thing in the world. You want to stay awake to get through your work day. I had a really boring job at the time. I won't go into it. You want to stay awake to get through your work day. So what do? You reach for your 19th cup of coffee. Hey, give me this, give me that, give me this. And then it's time to go to sleep. You finally have a chance to go to sleep, but you've ingested so much coffee or energy drinks or something horrible that now you can't go to sleep. That was me. My mind wasn't working properly. So the plane had free Wi-Fi. It was free, Chris. The plane had free Wi-Fi. I had my phone, so I decided to travel down this dark, dark road that Chris and Corey go down all the time, the world of YouTube, where you can just go look at various YouTube videos there's a YouTube video on everything. And I get to this one where this guy was laying out all the reasons that he thought dragons existed. And I don't remember all the reasons because, again, I was so wired up on caffeine, I probably could have failed a cocaine test at this point in time. My palms were sweating. I wasn't doing great. But he did say this. His main point that really got to me was, if dragons were never real, and I'm not saying they were flying and breathing fire and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. But he said, if dragons were never real, why are so many of the most ancient societies, why are dragons part of their history? How did they all come up with the large lizard? Sometimes he flies, and sometimes he's got 4 legs, and sometimes he's shaped like a snake or something like that. I'm telling you, Chris, dragons are real, and I support dragon robots. What? Yeah, they are. In fact, there are probably still some out there to this day. Oh, and that reminds me, speaking of dragons, if they were out there, someone would have to hunt them. That someone will be me. I will explain why in a moment. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on an amazing, amazing Wednesday. I might get back to politics. I'm definitely going to get back to emails, but I have to explain something to you. Maybe you're wondering, now that we've established that dragons are real, maybe you're wondering why I would be the one to hunt them. Well, let me tell you a little story. My mother, she has some trees on her place. She likes trees. I like trees. Trees are good. Trees that she has tried to protect from the local wildlife, and trees that she wants to grow large and so they can shade. You know, trees are a great thing. She got a beaver or 2 on her property. And beavers, I actually think beavers are really cool creatures, but beavers are also, like so much wildlife, incredibly destructive when you're trying to create something. Beavers chop down trees. I know that sounds like a basic point. Everyone who's vaguely familiar with wildlife will know that, but there are a lot of city people who don't know. Beavers build dams, beaver dams. Incredibly cool things, I should note. Really, really cool things. If you ever look at like the internals of one or a diagram of the internals of one, they're fascinating creatures. But that aside, beavers chop down trees and use the materials to build dams. They don't just chop down miniature trees. Beavers will take big trees and chop them down. Now, my mother, finally at wit's end, calls a trapper, local trapper. Hey, can you come trap these beavers? They haven't even been able to lay eyes on them. The beaver trapper shows up. He not only puts out beaver traps, he doesn't catch anything, so he brings back a thermal scope so he can sit and watch and wait at night and try to catch sight of one of these beavers. You with me? So I go over to my mom's, take care of a couple things. I look out the window. Boom. Beaver swimming across the pond. In rifle range. Now, I went and I got my rifle. Came back. By the time I got back, the beaver was gone. So I should note that I didn't actually get to hurt the beaver in any way the way I wanted to hurt the beaver. But I was able to do something nobody else was able to do, and that was lay eyes on the beaver. I think I'm going to be a good beaver hunter. I think beaver hunter Jesse is going to be a thing. I I don't even know how much longer I will do this show, depending on the price of beaver pelts now. I assume the market has dropped off a little bit since the 1700s, but maybe not. I want a beaver hat. I want a beaver coat. I'm going to wear beaver slippers. You are going to be able to call me Mr. Beaver or Beaver Hunter, Beaver Slayer. I like Beaver Slayer. Jesse, he slays beavers. Whatever you want to call me, you should know that I don't know how much longer I'll be doing this. Chris, would you do me a favor and look up beaver prices, please? Just see what we're dealing with. I think I'm going to be able to bring home 2 from my mom's property. So that's going to be something. Starter money, if you will. Starter money. Look that up, please. Jesse, imagine Alligator Alcatraz as a typical jail with a pond outside. The media is making it seem like a horror movie, which is going a long way in marketing deterrence. Well, this is one of the great things about what the media is doing when it comes to deportations and the detainment of illegals in this country. Remember, the American left hates America. That's why they want the borders open. The American left, every Democrat, whether they're in the media, just the normal voting Democrat, politicians, they want your country to have no borders because they hate it. They want the mass importation of barbarians. That's what they believe. And they believe once these barbarians come into the country, they should be able to rape and pillage and murder, and it doesn't bother them in the least. The only thing that does bother them are normal patriotic Americans. So when deportations begin, when the 4 years of Joe Biden hell stops and deportations begin, and then you have things like Alligator Alcatraz opening up in Florida, which is basically a transport facility. They just show up there for 15 minutes because they're getting ready to be deported. But all that aside, the media starts to do something wonderful on accident. They're attempting to twist the hearts of the American people against deportation, to play at your emotions, your nice feelings. I thought you loved Jesus. Are you sure you want to deport this rapist? That's what they're attempting to do. But what have we always talked about? What's the best border security in the world? The best border security in the world is actually not Border Patrol agents and fences and drones and dogs and Alligator Alcatraz. All those things are wonderful. The best border security in the world is the reputation of your border security. People around the world, they have internet too. They have CNN too. When you have Democrats in charge for 4 years and every single story is how welcome all these people are, we hope you bring in more, the border's wide open. Well, if you're in Kazakhstan and you've always wanted to come to America, it's time to hop on a flight, and now's the time to get there. Reputation is the best or worst border security on the planet. The American media now, with all these sob stories, they're grabbing children, they're grabbing women, they're taking everybody, they're kidnapping people off the streets, these Nazis, they're holding them in Alligator Alcatraz. It's the greatest border security in the world. If you're sitting down there in 80 right now and you just got done eating your cat and you're thinking about coming to the United States of America, you're going to watch CNN, probably the only channel you get. And you're going to find out that, oh my gosh, they're feeding illegals to alligators, which is of course not true, but they're feeding them to alligators? This is like the Nazis. And you're going to think, well, might as well stay home. Reputation is the best or worst border security there is. I love all these endless news stories trying to get people sympathetic for all of it. I think it's fantastic.